is your usual suspect. Welcome back to yet another live broadcast on your favorite football updates channel. It's a pleasure to be back on this beautiful Wednesday morning, the 21st of January 2026. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be back with you guys for yet another edition for our morning broadcast to once again digest all matters from the world of football, given what transpired last night from the UEFA Champions League. It was a night of some unexpected results, but also a night of so many red cards. The Man City game had a red card for Rodrigo Cascante. The Napoli and Copenhagen game had a red card. Then there was another red card. The Tottenham Hotspur game against Borussia Dortmund, that one had a red card as well. So that was the kind of a night it was. But really, red cards were quite many on the night. They did not dominate all the news because I think Real Madrid stole the show with their 6-1 victory over AC Monaco. Kylian Mbappe scoring a brace in that one. Vinicius Junior with a hat-trick of assists and a goal. The kind of man of the match performance that you'd expect from a player of his caliber. Yesterday, he was busy delivering. And then, of course, Arsenal's beautiful performance at San Siro as they beat up against Inter Milan by 3-1. A very unexpected result for me, not because Arsenal cannot beat up against Inter Milan, but particularly because I thought Inter Milan were that stronger side that they could force a result or at least a draw in that game. And then, of course, my other expectation was that by hook or crook, Inter Milan would find the back of the net against this Arsenal side. And for the second time this season in the UEFA Champions League, Arsenal did concede a goal. So the expectations, some were met, others were not met. Forgive me, but I'm already sweating. It's quite a bright and sunny, beautiful morning in Kampala. But yeah, so I will be digesting all that in regards to what we did witness yesterday, and I can only hope that you can join me for the conversation to digest it all, but also look forward to what there is to come from the same competition tonight, because action continues. Teams like Bayern Munich, teams like Atlanta, teams like Atletico de Madrid, Liverpool, Newcastle, Chelsea, Barcelona, Marseille, Juventus, Galatasaray will all be in action tonight, among others are there to complete or to wrap up match day 7. Kylian Mbappe, is again sort of cemented his spot at the summit of the top scorers, standings with that brace against AC Monaco. The result may not paint you the perfect picture for what the game actually was, because while Real Madrid were clinical because they had 6 shots on target, one of the goals they scored was an own goal. Vinicius Junior, Jude Bellingham were among the other goal scorers in that beautiful performance, a typical Real Madrid kind of performance that you'd expect on a Champions League night. Good morning, Pedri. How are you? Good to have you on the broadcast. So yeah. Then in the context of the game, in terms of attempts on goal, Monaco had equally 6, but they could only score with 1. Not because a part of it was due to the lack of their clinicalness, but also another part of it had everything to do with the goalkeeping prowesses of Thibaut Courtois, who was between the stands for Real Madrid in that beautiful performance on the night. On any other given day, you ought to give it to them. You ought to give it to them, because Real Madrid, with that counter-attacking football, with the way they won the ball back high up the pitch, and they went forward really quickly, was quite impressive. So by 5 minutes, Kylian Mbappe had scored to make it 1-0 thanks to an assist from Fede Valverde, while Mbappe was at it again in the 26th minute to make it 2-0, with Vinicius Junior providing his first assist of the night. And then in the second half, he made another assist for Franco Mastantuono, who scored to make it 3-0 before Kera scored to make it 4-0 for Real Madrid. Then Adagula provided the assist for Vinicius Junior, and then and then Fede Valverde provided the assist for Jude Bellingham's goal. Why I say Vinny Junior has had a hat-trick of assists is because he did lay that ball that ended up in the back of the net for the own goal. Mbwa jo ngamba yali etya njagala nnyo okuliya naye kati nina obudde butono kubanga obudde bukyali. Jesus Christ. Your comment, Pedri? When you say embwa, that means a dog. I don't know if that's what you intend to mean. You're asking me the dog I was telling you about how it is. I don't think I've ever told you about a dog. And then you say you want to eat, but you have little time. You know? So, anyways, then Monaco, of course, pulled one back through Teze. Like I said, statistically, Real Madrid dominated the key affairs of the game, but in terms of attempts on goal, Real Madrid had 15 with 5 on targets. The other was an own goal. Monaco had 6 with 9 off targets. Blocked shots, Real Madrid had 10 compared to Monaco's 5. Possession-wise, Monaco edged it slightly to the tune of 51%, according to online statistics. But the game did not paint them in any glory because defensively, AC Monaco were really, really poor. They were conceding possession in the wrong areas, and that's why they got punished by that pacey Real Madrid forward of Franco Mastantuono, Kylian Mbappe, Vinicius Junior, with Adagula, adding on to their Jude Bellingham in the mix there. So very, very beautiful performance from Real Madrid as they moved second on the UEFA Champions League standings with 15 points. That means they've won 5 games and lost 2 in the competition. The burst from Kylian Mbappe took him to a tally of 11 goals this campaign, while, those that are trying to, chase them down, those that are trying to chase him down are Victor Osimhen and Brad Erling Haaland, who all have 6 goals. So then, so that was the result. We will have we do have, I think one game left to play. That will be the match day 8, and in as far as match day 8 fixtures go, Real Madrid will have their final game against. Let me see. Just need to confirm that it will come next week. Next week, possibly on Wednesday. Yes, the next game will be a trip away to Benfica to wrap up their UEFA Champions League group stage format campaign. Then quickly, Tottenham Hotspurs were 2-0 victors against Borussia Dortmund. Dominic Solanke and Dominic Szoboszlai on target for Tottenham Hotspurs for their 4th straight win at home in the UEFA Champions League. Svensson got himself a straight red card after a VAR review for his high tackle in the 24th minute. That means that Dortmund had to play majority of that game with a man lesser, but Tottenham Hotspurs could only score 2 goals through Dominic Solanke, who is just returned not too far back from injury. Good to have his services for Thomas Frank, who is come under fire for his results in the Premier League. And again, it feels like Tottenham Hotspurs are having a repeat of what it was last season, where they were getting the results in Europe during their exploits in the UEFA Europa League. Really, they struggled in the league. As we speak, I think they are 14th on the Premier League table with about 27 points. And it doesn't look pretty for them. They've lost as many as 9 games. They do not perform well at home in the Premier League. Then, in addition to that, while away from home, they've done fairly well. They only have 7 wins and 6 draws. to their name. So in the Premier League, the picture is not looking rosy. But if you look over in contrast for their performances in the UEFA Champions League, they've only lost one game, winning 4 and drawing 2. Then their final game, I think, over the UEFA Champions League will come against Paris Saint-Germain. PSG will be up against Newcastle. Tottenham will be playing away in Germany against Eintracht Frankfurt. I think a team that they faced off with last campaign in the UEFA Europa League, and they knocked them out. I remember, I think, through Dominic Soboslai, they won that game by 1-0 over in Germany. So, I will have to wait and see, but that was the result for Thomas Frankie's side. And then Manchester City got walloped by 3-1 against Bordeaux Glimot. Again, Manchester City, I don't know. It's often very hard to say that Manchester City is a team in crisis, because crisis may sound to be a word for their own context. Uganda lost AFCON, that is Cristiano. I don't think Uganda lost the AFCON because it was never theirs to win anyway. But at least they will be co-hosts for the next edition 2027 alongside Kenya and Tanzania. Maybe then they'll fancy themselves to have a chance at winning a competition that they've never won, the best of which they made it to the finals in 1978, and I think lost to Ghana. So I do not think it was theirs to lose to begin with. But yeah, they had an underwhelming performance at the finals in Morocco. But thank you so much, Cristiano, for that comment there, and I hope you're doing well. So Manchester City, when you look over in the Premier League, we know very well that form is not on their side. We know that they've struggled through the last set of games. They have had 3 consecutive draws and a loss prior to match day 2022. To match day 2022, and the next game will be at home against Wolverhampton Wanderers. Not that Wolverhampton Wanderers are doing any better, but in recent times, Wolves have picked on some fairly decent results. I say fairly because they have had 4 draws. They have had 3 draws and a victory in their last 5 games. So that means they've gone 4 games unbeaten. That's Wolves, which is for a team that did not win a game until match day 20. So you ought to give them some credence. Okay. Then Manchester City, on the other hand, they had 3 consecutive draws, like I told you, against Sunderland, Chelsea, and Brighton before losing to Manchester United. Now they've gone over to the UEFA Champions League and got turned by a Norwegian side in Bordeaux Glimot. For one, that's not the kind of result that I would have expected going into that fixture, but it is what it is. It is football. Sometimes the underdog gets the better over the dominant side, and it was nothing short of that. It's a game in which Manchester City had to finish with a madness following a 62nd minute send-off for Rodrigo Cascante, or Lodri, for a double booking in that one. But by that time, Manchester City were already 3-1 behind. So it's not to say that the red card had a significant impact on the game or on the result itself that Manchester City managed to record for themselves, with Hoy on target with the breast, while Hugh, Jesus Christ, some of these Norwegian names are a bit difficult for me to pronounce, but I hope I'll do them fair justice. But those were the goal scorers, while Rancheki squad what turned out to be the only consolation for Pep Guardiola's side. Of course, they do struggle with injuries in their backline. That's why you've seen Max Alege in their backline alongside Kushanov, but they've already made a recruitment in Mackay, so expect him to feature over the weekend to try and improve on their defensive responsibilities. Nico O'Reilly was played, up front. Rico Ruiz was in there at right back, while Ryan Atnori was at left back. Tijani Enders alongside Rodrigo Cascante, Ryan Cheki, Brad Arrington, and Phil Foden. You felt it was a lineup fairly strong enough to go up against Bordeaux Glimot, but Bordeaux Glimot proved to be a stubborn side. We did mention that a stubborn side. For those of you that did follow some of, I think, their results are from possibly the UEFA Europa League last season. They did fairly well. So I remember them giving, was it Tottenham that they gave a bit of trouble? Cristiano says they need a star player like Mane or Diaz. I do not think we have a star player of that caliber in the context of Uganda, but we do have some brilliant players like Alan Okello, who has since made the move from Viper Sports Club to Young Africans or Young in Tanzania. So he's one of the star players. Then Rogers Mato, I think he's destined for a move to the Scottish Premier League with Hearts Middleton there in the Scottish Premier League. So, and then we do have Dennis Masindo Onyango, arguably one of the biggest exports of Ugandan football, who plays for Mamelodi Sundowns in South Africa, but he's come of age. He's 40 years old, a goalkeeper. Maybe I do not think he will be making it to the squad for the edition of 2027, but you cannot rule him out. He doesn't play a lot at Mamelodi because it's Rowan Williams that takes on the mantle. He's there as more or less a player coach in that capacity. And then, of course, you have Salim Jamal Magola, who equally trades his affairs as a goalkeeper in the South African Super League or Premier League. But yeah, we do not have players the caliber or the context or the level of Brahim Diaz. They are born in Malaga in Spain, but does feature for the Moroccan national team, or a player the caliber of Sadio Mane, who has won the UEFA Champions League with Liverpool, won the German Bundesliga, won the Premier League title with Liverpool, and is overplaying at Al Nassr. So very, very incredible players that you draw comparisons on. But again, I do not think that Uganda, if they were to win the AFCON, they necessarily need one of those stars to be able to win it, because I'll take you back to 2012 when Zambia won it when they beat Ivory Coast in the final. I think it was 8-7 on post-match penalties that proceeded. Was it a goalless draw when they were under the charges of Hervé Renard? They did not have, the star-laden players that you would look upon to say, yeah, this was a star. They had, Stofera Sunzu, they had Felix Katongo and his brother Christopher Katongo, and the likes of those kinds of players in that team who went on to win that, trophy. Uganda need 11 players, not just one. Indeed. Thank you so much, Pedri, for that addition to the submission. Anyways, switching back attention to the UEFA Champions League or to Manchester City, I think they will need to pull up their stockings quite soon rather than later. Then in this other surprise results of the night, Sporting CP managed to get the better of Paris Saint-Germain when they beat them by 2-1, with Kivica Kvaratskhelia scoring what turned out to be a mere consolation in that game, while Luis Suarez scored a brace in that one to win it for Sporting CP. I don't know how to pronounce your name, but it's XHGDFC MGFG. You say hi to you too. Good to have you on the broadcast. Kindly like the broadcast, but also consider subscribing to the channel if you're new here. And then Olympiacos put to pass by Leverkusen in that game, while earlier on Kairati Almaty lost to Club Brugge, who beat them by 4-0. And then Napoli missed a golden opportunity when they were up against the 10-man Copenhagen. The squad threw Scott McTominay, but conceded a penalty in the second half that restored parity, and the points were shared in that game. XHGDFCMGFG says 100%. Thank you so much. That flag, is that the Iranian flag? Somebody correct me, or is it Pakistanis? I tend to mix flags. I'm not good at telling countries with their flags. So, anyways, then Ajax beat up against Villarreal by 2-1 in the other fixture of the day. While in the other big game of the night, Arsenal managed to beat up against Inter Milan at San Siro by 3-1. It's not, like I said in the preamble, it's not the result that I may have possibly seen coming, in my opinion. Not that it was impossible, but given how strong and the kind of respect that I give to Inter Milan, a team who had conceded the second least amount of goals behind Arsenal. Going into that game, they had only conceded four in the entire campaign. Arsenal had only conceded one. I knew they were going to concede their second and possibly third, but they only conceded their second with that goal scored by Suchik. And then, of course, Inter Milan conceded their fifth, sixth, and seventh, thanks to a brace from Gabriel Jesus in the first half, while Victor Gyökeres came off the bench to score his own, to extend his tally in the UEFA Champions League to 3 goals in 5 matches. It was an entertaining fixture to watch. I thought I was really, really impressed by certain players within that Arsenal starting 11, particularly Christian Mosquera, who stepped in for Gabriel Magalhaes, coming straight from many weeks, I think about 6 weeks or so from injury, and he was literally tossed into the deep end against a very, very good team in Inter Milan, but he held his stand and was really, really good. And when I think when they introduced, was it Esposito? That's when Mikel Arteta chose to make the change to bring on Gabriel Magalhaes, who went on to hold him at bay. But so Christian Mosquera, Martin Zubimendi at the base of that midfield controlled many things, did really, really well, even though maybe you think he could have done better to put in the block for that goal scored by Suchik, but it was a brilliant strike from Suchik. So, and then Gabriel Jesus voted man of the match. Very, very impressive for him. I do feel happy for him that he gets to get back on the score sheet after, after having been out for 11 months through injury. So it was beautiful to watch for Gabriel Jesus getting himself on the score sheet with that brace. So beautiful performance. And then Victor Gyökeres, he scored one thanks to an assist from Bukayo Saka, but also had another moment where he could score, although his attempt went off target, and he made a good run. It was quite impressive to see, and you hope he can make more of those even in the Premier League to sort of prop up his numbers, where I think he scored 5 goals so far this campaign. But yeah, beautiful performance from that Arsenal side. Miles Lewis-Kelly didn't do much wrong in the game. I thought they all had good performances. Ebelechi Eze was pivotal in the first goal that Arsenal scored, although for me his performance was a bit of a 50-50, although many people seem to think that he was withdrawn from the game quite prematurely. Mikel Merino gained a bit of an average performance for him, in my opinion. Like I said, rarely do I think he's had a standout performance when he's played in midfield, but it is what it is. But nonetheless, he's still a very, very valuable member of that Arsenal squad. When I looked at the starting lineup, I thought I didn't think it was a weak starting 11, but I thought maybe it's one that Inter Milan will get a good result again. For those of you that are just joining us, good to have you on the channel. Welcome to the Football Tribe UG channel. Robert Kesakozi is my name, and I'm coming to you live from Kampala, Uganda, where it's 45 minutes past the hour of 9 a.m. East African time, and it's a football, a channel. We get to digest everything football. For those of you that could be wondering what we are discussing, kindly like the broadcast, but also consider subscribing to the channel if you're new here with us. So, and then on the side of Inter Milan, I thought Francesco Acerbi had done fairly well. Manela Kanji, a familiar face, but at the end of the day, they could not defend really well. Luis Enrique had an opportunity. I think this was it in the second half? Because on a good number of, I think in the first half, on a good number of occasions, Inter Milan got in behind, Arsenal, but were not so clinical. Lautaro Martinez did not have a good game. I thought Marcus Thuram equally struggled a bit in the game. I guess you ought to give credit why it is due to Christian Mosquera and William Saliba in that centre back pairing. Beautiful game of football there. Arsenal's next game will be a big one on Super Sunday when they take on Manchester United before a home fixture against Kairat Almaty, in a game in which you expect Arsenal, having qualified already, following that victory against Inter Milan, have been confirmed as qualified to the round of 16 of the UEFA Champions League. Excuse me. Having qualified, you think that all the focus will be in the Man United game, with the game against Kairat Almaty giving Mikel Arteta another huge opportunity, or tremendous opportunity, to rotate his team and give some of those players that do have a very few minutes some bit of game time. The likes of Beleche Eze, the likes of Mikel Merino, the likes of Christian Mosquera, the likes of Miles Lewis Kelly, and many more. Then okay, so then also in the aftermath of that game, Mikel Arteta seemed to confirm that Ethan Nwaneri will be heading out to Olympique Marseille on loan for 6 months for the remainder of the season. The loan fee discussed is slightly under 4 million euros, but dependent on appearances. But also Arsenal, in their discussions, wanted to guarantee game time for the youngster who's not seen too much of the ball in this campaign with the Arsenal, given the availability of Ebeleche Eze and Martin Odegaard in the role where he normally plays. So I think it's a good move. I think he will be working under a very demanding manager in Roberto Di Zerbi, who likes to play with 2 number 10s, Mason Greenwood being one of those. I did hear yesterday that they had reached an agreement to sign Quinton Timber from Feyenoord. So let's see. But Olympique Marseille, very good side, very inconsistent though, in my opinion. Okay, quickly. For the results, like I said, Arsenal retained their top spot at the summit of the standings, while Waiswa says hi. 256 Waiswa. That means he's from Uganda as well. Good to have you on the broadcast, Waiswa. How are you doing, my brother? Why are you joining us from this beautiful morning? So, Real Madrid moved second, Bayern Munich at third. Yes, they have a game today against Union Saint-Gilloise. So that means should they win that fixture, they will move back in second place with 18 points if they can win that one. My expectation is that given it's a home game for them, it's a no-brainer. They will definitely win. But surprises do not discriminate in football. Tottenham climbed to fourth with that victory against Borussia Dortmund, while PSG slipped to fifth with that loss against Sporting CP with 13 points, just as many as their match day 7 opponents are in sixth place in Sporting CP with 13 points. Man City 13 points, Atlanta 13 points. Those are the teams that complete the top 8, with Inter Milan slipping down to 12th with 12 points. So Atletico de Madrid are in action today. Liverpool are in action today. If they all win their games, they will leapfrog the likes of Atlanta. So you can see how quickly you can slip out of the top 8, which guarantees you, because the way the Champions League format is set is that the top 8 are qualified directly to the round of 16, and then teams that finish between 9th and 24th go in a playoff, and then the resultant 8 from there are what play with the other 8 at the round of 16. Of course, you do have the top 4 at the round of 16. The top 4 from the league table get to play the final game of the round of 16, or the second round, or the reverse fixture of the round of 16 at home. So that means their first game is away from home. Then that continues for the top 2, it continues to the quarterfinals and semi-finals. So yeah, that kind of seamless of things. Then in terms of fixtures for what you should expect to be coming your way in the continuation of match day 7 in terms of continuation for match day 7, Galatasaray are going to be up against Atletico de Madrid at 8:45 p.m., while Qarabag will take on Eintracht Frankfurt at 8:45 p.m. Olympique Marseille and Liverpool will come at 11 p.m., while Newcastle will take on PSV Eindhoven, Slavia Praha take on Barcelona, Juventus up against Benfica, Chelsea will be up against Pafos, Bayern Munich against Union St. Gloisy, while Athletic Bilbao play away to Atlanta. Again, I want to sort of look at some of these games. Liverpool up against Olympique Marseille. Liverpool, so many draws in their recent games. I think they've had 4 consecutive draws in the Premier League. You'd be hoping they have everything to fight for in this game, just as much as Olympique Marseille have, because Olympique Marseille, last I checked, I think they were 16th on that UEFA Champions League log, while Liverpool are 11th. So Olympique Marseille will know that if they can't win that fixture, as they did win, because they've already beaten up against an English Premier League side when they beat up against Newcastle by 2-1, they will know that that result will take them on level points with Liverpool. Liverpool knowing that if they win, it takes them to 15 points. However, Liverpool this season have been very unconvincing for me to commit myself on them. I think it will be an entertaining fixture, one to watch. I think it will form part of my menu for the night, as just as much as perhaps the Barcelona game. But I do not think both teams will be far apart in terms of how they apply themselves. I just have that sneaky feeling that Olympique Marseille could nick this one by 2-1. Mason Greenwood, very, very brilliant player that they do have in there to play with on the day. So anything can happen. It's football. You can expect the unexpected. You can sometimes. Okay, I thought I'd missed out on a comment. When I look at Liverpool, Dominic Szoboszlai, Florian Wirtz looking sharp recently, but you never know. You never know what Liverpool you're going to get. Mohamed Salah is returned from the AFCON. Expect him to be in the matchday squad. Cody Gakpo, who got ticket to lead the lines in the absence of Alexander Isak, Gravenberch at the pivot of that midfield, alongside Dominic Szoboszlai, Gakpo, Florian Wirtz, Milos Kakis, Virgil van Dijk, Joe Gomez of Jeremy Frimpong, Alisson Ramsey-Specker, Ibrahim Konate is a bit of a doubt for this one for personal reasons, according to online, online information. Then on the other side, Naif Agad, the fixture will come too early for him because he just played in the final of the Africa Cup of Nations with Morocco. Benjamin Pavard could be out through a knock. So, anyways, expect Geronimo Rulli in goal for Olympique Marseille, Leonardo Belardi, Facundo Medina, Amir Morillo in that backline, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg in that midfield, Vamari, yes, Timothy Weah, Emerson Pereira, Mason Greenwood, Igor Paxio, the one signed from Ajax, was it? And then Amain Cruyff or Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang as the striker. So we know that it was Aubameyang that punched Newcastle when they won against Newcastle. So that is what you should expect from those two sides. But Mason Greenwood on the other side is a player to watch for that Olympique Marseille. If you're Liverpool, he's the player to tame down. For Liverpool, so many players that you ought to tame down, because if it's Mohamed Salah starting, he could punch you. If it's Szoboszlai can come in with a goal from distance. Hugo Ekitike, one of Liverpool's usual suspects when it comes to hitting the target. Then Chelsea Pafos, Liam Rafinha takes a charge of Chelsea's of his first game in the UEFA Champions League with Chelsea. Again, it will be interesting to see how he assembles his team. Moises Caicedo alongside Andre Santos. I don't know. Do you sacrifice Enzo Fernandez? Brilliant player, brilliant player. But I understand in case Liam Rafinha were to have a preference over Andre Santos because he's a player that he's worked with before at Strasbourg for an entire season, so he knows him one too well. Bernat Badiashile, not one that convinces me to be in that Chelsea backline. But yeah, I expect Chelsea to win that game by 3-1 against Pafos. That's my expectation. Alejandro Garnacho, Pedro Neto, Cole Palmer, expect them to step up. Joao Pedro. And then of course, the other game will be Juventus against Benfica. I've told you guys before, Benfica need to win this game if they are to brighten their chances of finishing within at least the playoff places at 6 points that they do have in 28th place. They need to beat up against Juventus, who are 17th on the league table of the UEFA Champions League, and draw level with them on points. So Benfica, under the charges of Jose Mario Felix Mourinho, the special one, the happy one, will be, I will wait to see if they will be up to the task of those responsibilities. Okay. Newcastle against PSV Eindhoven. Newcastle will know that PSV Eindhoven can be a tricky opponent to take on. They will know that from that emphatic 4-1 victory that PSV Eindhoven registered against Liverpool. So Newcastle, they themselves are still not have yet to confirm their place in the playoffs or in the top 8 if they are to earn that. But excuse me, they do find themselves 13th on the league's table with 10 points, while PSG are only 2 points behind them in down as a 21st place. So a lot will be at stake for that particular fixture. But Nick Pope is back in goal. I expect to see players like Malik Thiaw, the Senegalese. Seven Bobman, Lewis Hall, Otino Livramento, Kieran Trippier, Bruno Guimaraes, Sandro Tonali, Jolinton, Nick Voltmada, Antonio Gordon, Javi Barnes, the players in there for Newcastle that are yet to click, the likes of Anthony Elanga, the likes of Jacob Ramsey, who they signed up from Aston Villa. Then Yohan Wissa to be part of that mix. Brilliant player. He's already scored a couple of goals for Newcastle. So let's wait and see. Will Ivan Perisic inspire his side to mount or to stage a coup against Newcastle for match day 7? Then quickly, Barcelona against Slavia Praha. We spoke about this game yesterday with Pedri. I don't know if he's still here with us, and we're talking about how Barcelona need not to be complacent against Slavia Praha, because while they will come in the fixture as the weaker side, anything can happen. They can cause you an upset, and in any case, we've seen that Barcelona are not immune to conceding goals in the UEFA Champions League. This campaign, nonetheless, a part of me still thinks that Barcelona will win this game by 3-1. I just always have that sneaky feeling that make it or break, usually Barcelona will concede in a game of football. So yeah, there's that expectation for me on Barcelona. And then, yes, meanwhile, Barcelona, I think, have an agreement with Girona for the transfer, for the loan move of Marc-Andre ter Stegen. But also expect Joan Garcia in goal, Eric Garcia, Pau Kubasi, Alejandro Balde, Jules Koundé, Pedri alongside Frankie de Jong, maybe Marc Casado, Dani Olmo, Marcus Rashford, Rafinha, Lewandowski, or you could see Ferran Torres, Fermin Lopez, Lamine Yamal, you know. Oh, Lamine Yamal won't be in action for tonight because he's suspended for disciplinary action. 5 years accumulated 5 yellow cards. Gavi's out injured. Ferran Torres struggles with the hamstring, while Andreas Christensen has a cruciate ligament injury. So you may not expect him in that one. But Hansi Flick, I do expect him to mastermind an away victory for Barcelona against Slavia Praha. There, Bayern Munich against Union St. Galois, the highest scoring team in European football is FC Bayern Munich. So I can envision a 5-1, thumping of Union St. Galois against Bayern Munich. Not because Union are that, weaker side, but because Bayern Munich are too superior an opponent to face up when it comes to the UEFA Champions League. They've won they've won 5 out of 6 fixtures. They are only loss coming against Arsenal. They are so beautiful, play from Vincent Kompany's side. Very, very strong team. Harry Kane having a brilliant season, as is Luis Diaz. As is the likes of Michael Olise, the likes of Leonard Carl, that youngster that stepped in the absence of Jamal Musiala, Michael Olise, Serge Gnabry, Leon Goretzka and Joshua Kimmich. So, like I said, I expect an emphatic victory for Bayern Munich in that game. Anyways, that's it for about the UEFA Champions League, or what you should expect tonight in what's to come on that front. Let's quickly run into the transfer gossip as compiled by BBC Sport. It has come to light that Aston Villa are exploring a deal to sign Jean-Philippe Mateta and Tammy Abraham there from Crystal Palace and AC Roma. Tammy Abraham is on loan, I think, to Besiktas from Roma, and that they are looking to find a way to terminate that and then facilitate a move to Aston Villa. Then Manchester United declined Ajax's Manuel Ugarte approach and Bournemouth fight to keep Marcos Senesi. So, anyways, according to The Athletic, Aston Villa have expressed strong interest in signing 28-year-old Jean-Philippe Mateta, the French striker there, with the Eagles exploring a move with Crystal Palace exploring a potential move in which they could sign Ivan Guessand. We know that Aston Villa signed Ivan Guessand in the summer, the 24-year-old Ivory Coast international. Then Villa are also stepping up their efforts in signing Tammy Abraham, 28 years of age, from Roma, like I've told you, is currently on loan to Besiktas. That's according to Sky Sport. Then Ajax have asked about signing Manuel Ugarte, 24, on loan as they search for a defensive midfielder, but Manchester United are not looking to move out at the Uruguayan international. That's according to The Athletic. Borussia Dortmund boss Niko Kovac has emerged as a new name on Manchester United's shortlist to be their next manager, but England head coach Thomas Tuchel and Marseille's Roberto Di Zerbi remain their top 2 targets, according to the Mirror. Again, I do not see the possibility of Man United hiring Niko Kovac. In my opinion, it doesn't feel like a good fit. In fact, instead of going out and bringing Niko Kovac, as good as he is a manager, I'd rather stick with Michael Carrick. Of course, depending on how things go in the interim. And then Inter Milan are exploring a move for Aston Villa goalkeeper Emiliano Martinez, 33, but the Argentine international would have to accept a wage cut to sign next summer. That's according to Sky Sports. Bournemouth plan to resist any bids for Michael Senesi, 28, this month, with the Chelsea, Juventus, and Barcelona among clubs who have shortlisted the Argentine centre-back as a possible target, according to TalkSport. Leon Bailey's loan spell at Roma has been cut short, with the 28-year-old Jamaican winger set to return to Aston Villa, according to Sky Sports Italy, while Fulham are battling Wolfsburg and Roy Betis in the race to sign a Republic of Ireland forward Troy Parrott, 23, from AZ Alkmaar, according to the Independent. Coventry City boss Frank Lampard is likely to be a strong contender to replace Oliver Glasner as Crystal Palace manager, with the club also interested in Getafe's Jose Bordalas and Rayo Vallecano's Inigo Perez, according to TalkSport. Sunderland have no intention of selling DRC Congo midfielder Noah Sadiq, 21, to Manchester United, but are willing to listen to offers of fringe players such as English goalkeeper Anthony Peterson, 25, and former England under-20 midfielder Danny Neil, 24. That's according to The Sun. Everton have inquired about the availability of Sunderland's 25-year-old striker Wilson Isido as they look to strengthen the attack. Speaking of Everton, Jack Grealish is out through injury with, is it a fractured toe? Something. Sheffield Wednesday's 17-year-old English defender Yissa Allow is edging closer to a January transfer to Premier League giants Chelsea, according to Sheffield Star. So those are some of the transfer rumors making the rounds in as far as this morning is concerned. We know that, Ibrahim Konate's future remains one with question marks at Liverpool, as he's yet to commit himself to, or his future, to the Reds, who will be looking to sign a centre-back or centre-backs in the summer. Excuse me. Okay. Quickly. I'm trying to look up something that yes. Oh, no. Sorry about that. Okay. Forgive me. I'm looking up something. There's something that I thought I should mention in this podcast. We've talked about Ethan Wanye's deal. Then Vinicius Junior, in the aftermath of that brilliant performance, when he scored his goal, he went to the touchline and hugged Alvaro Abiola there, as if to say he's in a happy place. So he told TNT Sport that I want to stay at Real Madrid for a long time. My renewal, I have another year left. We are very relaxed. I trust the president. He trusts me. We have a very good relationship. We will sort things out in the right time and no hurry. That's according to Vinicius Junior, whose future has come a lot under speculation, in recent months, going back to the summer, when there was a possibility of him even signing for Saudi Pro League clubs if he was interested of the move, with the Saudi Pro League clubs offering up to 350 million euros, with the possibility of leaving him at Real Madrid for an extra season before he can make the move. Then also, about him being bored at home, he said, it makes me very sad. I do not want to be bored at home. In the last few games, I didn't feel comfortable because whenever I did something wrong, they booed me, but the fans have the right. They pay a very expensive ticket. So that was a Vinicius Junior. in part of his post-match reaction with TNT Sports. Okay. Mikel Arteta about Ethan Nwaneri said he's probably not playing the minutes he deserves. We have a massive talent there, and we need to look after him. That's about his possibility of joining Olympic Marseille on loan. So yeah, that's the bit of it. Unless I don't think, is there anything we've left out? Not tackled this morning. It's been 50 minutes of doing the podcast. Allow me wrap it up here and I get to my other duties. But yeah, follow the conversation, in our different, outputs under the short section, under the video section, and these live editions. For those of you that watch them long after they've ended, thank you so much for always dedicating the time. Thank you so much for choosing Football Tribe UG. So thank you so much, Waiswa. Thank you so much, XHGDFCMGF, for your submission. Pedri, thank you so much, Cristiano, and every single one of you that is managed to be part of this morning's edition of the live broadcast. Allow me to wish you a blessed day, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye for now.